So today we're gonna talk about the Zodiac crime. Well, it all began with a murder that occurred in 1968 on Lake Herman Ride, Vallejo, California, involving David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. David and Betty was on the parking lot in the car when Zodiac came up. He killed them by knife. They both died at the same time. A time later, at the Blue Rock Springs, also in Vallejo, California, on July 4th of 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael McGill were caught by the same killer. Darlene died that day, but Michael survived and was the first victim to see the Zodiac. This time, he didn't have a name. The description that Michael gave the cops was: young white male, 26 to 30 years old, stocky, 200 pounds or larger, about 5'8 inches, light brown curly hair, and large face. On August 1st of the same year, the killer sent 3 letters to 3 different local newspapers. In the letters were 3 parts of a cryptogram that he said should be placed on the cover of the newspaper, otherwise more deaths will arise. Sorry. Well, no one could even read all of those 3 cryptograms, but a couple of teachers could read this part where he said, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the ones that I had killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." This is all that could read about the 3 cryptograms, but I have more, but no one could read this, could translate this. Well, on August 4th, 1969, he presented himself as the Zodiac for the first time. Soon, on September 27th at the same year, at Lake Berry, Napa, California, he killed Cecilia Shepard and attempted to kill Brian Hartnell, who survived the attempt. The description that Brian gave to the cops was 6 feet tall, 225 to 250 pounds, and dark brown hair. On this crime, he left a paper talking about previous crimes to prove that they were his own. On the note he wrote, he left the dates, times, and how he killed the victims, by knife. Zodiac was so much in his character that he started using a kind of uniform to commit his crime. It was like a hoodie with his symbol that was like a ball with. We'll have the image in the video. On October 11, 1969, in San Francisco, California, he killed Paul Steen in daylight with many witnesses. One of the witnesses was a neighbor who was at the window and described the criminal in the following way: white man from 25 to 30 years old, from about 5'8 inches to 5'9 inches, stocky, reddish brown crew cut, and heavy rimmed glasses. There were 2 policemen who were near the place where it all happened, but when they denounced the crime, they gave a completely false description. They said it was an African man, so the policemen were looking after an African man. Shortly after, the police were passing in front of a park very near from the crime scene. One of the policemen suspected someone that was just like that. White man, 5'10 inches, 170 pounds, about 49 years old, wearing glasses and reddish hair. If you compare the descriptions of the policeman and the neighbor, you see that it's the same. It's very similar. So a little while later, Zodiac sent another letter where he claimed he met with the cops. He said in his letter, P.S. Two cops pulled a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. Well, in the same letter he also claims, I was leaving fake clues for the police to run all over town. He also claimed that he was responsible for the crime where the taxi driver was killed. He said, This is the Zodiac speaking. I am the murderer of the taxi driver over by Washington Street and Maple Street last night. Along with the letter, there were pieces of clothes covered in blood. He also said something that left the population extremely tense. He said in his letter, School children make nice targets. I think I should wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and then pick out of the kiddies as they come bouncing out. Beside that, he left bomb diagrams that he said he could put inside school bus anytime. On April 20, 1970, he sent another letter where his name was encrypted. His last letter was in 1974, and he assumed that he killed 37 people. In 2002 was the last thing about the crime that we have. The police department of San Francisco managed to extract some DNA samples of one of his letters, but it wasn't DNA enough to prove who was the Zodiac. So this crime didn't have an end because no one knows until today. We don't know who could be, but we have 3 theories. They are the most popular ones and famous. One of them gave the film Zodiac was based on one of them, the second theory. Well, let's go to the theories.
The first theory is from Gary Stewart. He said Irv Van Best Jr. was the one to blame because of his extremely similar face to the spoken picture. He wrote 2 books on the subject. The letters of his name fit perfectly into Zodiac's cryptogram. The calligraphy of the 2 were also similar, but he was designated as suspect because he wasn't fat and strong.
So the second theory that our group believes the most and the film Zodiac was based on is the theory of Robert Graysmith, and he said that Arthur Leigh Allen was the serial killer. Why? Because on the day of the lake's crime, he told his family he was going to the same lake that the crime was committed, Lake Berryessa, and he also returned with his clothes covered in blood and had a knife in a car covered in blood too. Don Kennedy, a friend of Arthur Allen, says he assumed he was the Zodiac even before the killer named himself as the Zodiac. He also said that Allen planned to hunt people with a gun. On an interview with Allen, he says that his favorite book style were the ones that tell about hunting humans, and the name of his favorite book was The Most Dangerous Game. And to complete, he enjoyed a book based on the Zodiac cards. Well, when they examined the trailer he was living on, they found small dissected animals in the freezer, knives with blood, and also sexual artifacts. In 1974, Allen was arrested for molesting children. He spent 3 years in jail, and coincidentally, in those 3 years, no letter from Zodiac were received. In 1991, they interviewed George Bowert, a survivor of the second attack of the Zodiac, who was the only one who saw the Zodiac without the mask. And Allen said and George said that Allen was the Zodiac because it's the same person that tried to kill him. The police then investigated Allen's house again and found bomb formulas and bombs that were already built and tapes about the Zodiac crime.
The third theory. Police officer Harvey Hines said Lawrence Kane was the Zodiac. Lawrence suffered a car accident and the doctors claim losing the ability to control self-gratification. Another cryptogram where the real Zodiac's name were three letters that formed the name of Cain and the three numbers age of the cryptogram added up to 24 and 1924, the year that Cain was born. Darlene's sister, one of the victims, claimed that Cain was following Darlene.
Well, about the story, we don't have a lot to say because it's like the less convincing in our opinion. But we have our theory. Our theory is that the Zodiac isn't like one man, it's three or more men. So all the theories are right, but they're together, you know? Like the three is like Harvey, Arthur, and Gary are the Zodiac, the both of them. So yeah, this is the Zodiac crime. Hope you enjoyed.